Hello everyone and welcome back to Prestige Reef. Today we're going to speak about one of the most common errors which people make when running a saltwater tank. So make sure you stick with it till the end to find out if you're one of those people. The tank has just been filled and we're going to take a closer look at one of the most basic parts of keeping a reef tank: choosing your salt and mixing it with water. Although some of you will probably feel that you don't need to watch this, there is a 50% chance which you're doing it wrong. So even some of the more experienced aquarists can benefit. When you look at the chemistry behind it, mixing your salt water is actually far more complex than just adding salt to water, or water to salt. So what way is best? Firstly, let's take a look at what seawater is actually made of. Natural seawater is made of around 70 elements. However, there are 3 which play a much more important role than all the rest when it comes to chemical stability. These are calcium, magnesium, and bicarbonates. These 3 also play a major role when it comes to maintaining a healthy reef tank, as they have a significant impact on our corals with regard to skeleton formation, ion exchange and photosynthesis when balanced correctly, with balance being the key word. In the wild, corals are supplied with a virtually endless supply of these elements. However, in our home aquariums, they're in very limited supply, which can be rapidly depleted by our tank inhabitants. The speed at which these are reduced is directly linked to what the inhabitants are, with SPS and LPS corals absorbing far more than soft corals. This is because soft corals don't have the ability or need to grow a skeleton, which in turn makes them generally easier to maintain. When choosing which salt to use, you always want to look at the label and choose a good brand based on the requirements of what you would like to keep. This is because not all salts are created equally. For example, Red Sea have 2 types of salt to choose from. Firstly, the original Red Sea salt, which has been tried and tested by thousands of aquarists over the years, and has been designed to provide almost the exact parameters found on a tropical reef, with just slightly elevated alkalinity levels. This is ideal for systems with lower demands on the elements previously mentioned. The second type, and the one that I'll be using for this project, is their Coral Pro salt. This is designed with elevated levels of calcium, alkalinity and magnesium at levels that Red Sea themselves have experienced accelerated and sustainable growth in their research lab. The reason I picked this type over the original Red Sea salt is because I've got big plans for this tank with regards to corals, and who doesn't want rapid growth? There are 3 ways which sodium chloride is produced. The first is through evaporation by harvesting water from the ocean. The second is to mine it from the earth. And the third is to create it in a lab where all the raw elements are combined. Although the third way sounds the most scientific, all 3 methods end up in a lab for processing and testing prior to being made available to the public. Red Sea use the more natural method of harvesting water directly from the Red Sea itself, which means their salt incorporates 45 minor and trace elements in similar proportions to the natural reef. So how is it that people can mix their salt water incorrectly? Each salt has different instructions with regards to the temperature of the water and mixing time, therefore always check these first. However, there are 2 key steps which everyone should be doing the same. Firstly, always use reverse osmosis water, with the total dissolved solids as close to 0 as possible. Occasionally, my TDS creeps up to 2 or 3, but for the best results, 0 is what you should be aiming for. And secondly, always add water to the container first and then add the salt to the water. Many people are adding the salt first and then the water afterwards, which can cause issues with the salt dissolving incorrectly, and will also cause some of the elements to precipitate out of the solution. Undissolved salt entering your system can cause stress and harm to your livestock, and if you're paying your hard-earned money for the best possible salt that you can afford, you don't want to devalue it before it even enters your system. With regards to the Coral Pro salt, the exact instructions are: never mix salt in an aquarium containing animals and always use clean, non-toxic utensils. Then, number 1, prepare the quantity of salt and water for the desired salinity according to the chart. 2, use reverse osmosis water at approximately 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit and always add the salt to the water. 3, mix vigorously without aeration for half an hour to 2 hours until all the salt is dissolved and the pH is stabilised at 8.2 to 8.4. Do not mix for more than 4 hours. 4. Raise the water temperature to 25 degrees Celsius or 77 degrees Fahrenheit and measure the salinity with an accurate hydrometer or refractometer. If the salinity isn't what you require, add salt or water as necessary to achieve the desired parameters. The reason they advise not to mix for more than 4 hours is because, again, this can cause precipitation and can make the water turn slightly cloudy. If this happens, the water is still safe to use and should clear up after a couple of hours of being in your system. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching my video. Please feel free to comment below if you have any questions. If you did enjoy it, why not click that like and subscribe button. Have a good week, and I'll see you next time.